Madam Speaker, I have a double and conflicting obligation on this matter. As chairman of the committee, I have an obligation to this House to bring this war supplemental before the House to allow this institution to work its will. But I also have the obligation to my conscience to indicate by my individual vote my profound skepticism that this action will accomplish much more than to serve as a recruiting incentive for those who most want to do us ill. Military experts tell us that it could take up to 10 more years to achieve any acceptable outcome in Afghanistan. We've already been there 9 years. I believe that is too high a price to pay. Now, to those who say we must pay it because we're going after al-Qaeda, I would note that Afghanistan is where al-Qaeda used to be. Today there are fewer than 100 al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, which was publicly confirmed last month by CIA Chief Panetta. Al-Qaeda has relocated to other countries and regions. I yield myself one additional minute. I have the highest respect and appreciation for our troops who have done everything asked of them. They're being asked, but they are being let down by the inability of the governments of Afghanistan and in some instances Pakistan to do their parts. I would be willing to support additional war funding provided that Congress would vote up or down explicitly on whether or not to continue this policy after a new national intelligence estimate is produced. But absent that discipline, I cannot look my constituents in the eye and say that this operation will hurt our enemies more than it hurts us. And so I will reluctantly vote no. I reserve the balance of my time.
I thank Chairman Obey for yielding me the time and for his incredible leadership on so many issues. Madam Speaker, after nearly 10 years, thousands of American troops killed or wounded, and hundreds of billions of dollars in borrowed money, I believe we must radically change our policy in Afghanistan. Of all the disturbing things in the recent Rolling Stone article about this war, the most disturbing was this. A senior advisor to General McChrystal said that if the American people paid more attention to the war, it would become even less popular. Well, after seeing the documents published yesterday, it's clear what he was talking about. Corruption and incompetence in the Afghan government. Questions about the role of the Pakistani intelligence services. Madam Speaker, the same old is simply not working, and it's costing us dearly. At a time when the American people are suffering through the worst economy in generations, we're told that we can't afford to extend unemployment benefits. We're told that we can't afford to help states keep cops on the beat or teachers in the classroom. We're told we can't afford to help more families send their kids to college. But today we're asked to borrow another $33 billion for nation building in Afghanistan. Well, with all due respect, Madam Speaker, I think we need to do some more nation building here at home. All of us are dedicated to defeating al-Qaeda wherever they are, but our current policy in Afghanistan is deeply flawed. Occupying Afghanistan in support of a corrupt and incompetent government will continue to claim the lives of our soldiers. It will continue to bankrupt us, and it will not enhance our national security. This is not just the President's war, it's our war too. Congress has an obligation to ask the tough questions and demand straight answers. We must not simply kick the can down the road and hope for the best. Our troops and their families have made incredible sacrifices. They deserve a policy worthy of those sacrifices. It is a mistake to give this administration yet another blank check for this war. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this bill and make it clear that Congress demands a different approach. I yield back my time.
Madam Speaker, less than a month ago, Congress finally began the debate on the war in Afghanistan that should have really been held 9 years ago. While evidence continues to mount that our military engagement in Afghanistan has become a quagmire of corruption and ill-defined objectives, the bill under consideration will provide, if you can believe this, another $37 billion for the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq that have already cost this nation more than $1 trillion. Congress cannot continue to write a blank check for a war in Afghanistan that has ultimately made our country less safe. Our brave men and women in uniform have been put in an impossible situation in Afghanistan where there is no military solution. It is time to provide funding for only their safe and orderly withdrawal. No more funding for combat operations. It's a shame and disgrace that we cannot support justice long overdue for black farmers or youth employment programs or teachers, firefighters, and police officers who need their jobs, or temporary assistance for needy families. The Congressional Black Caucus continues to fight for jobs here in our own country. Let's not spend another dollar to escalate America's longest war. The costs of this war are too enormous in blood and treasure. I urge my colleagues to stand in opposition to a policy of war without end and vote against this bill and really begin to look at our priorities in our own country. Yes, we need to help continue to stabilize, actually regionally, in terms of Afghanistan and the Middle East and the wars that have really our young men and women have served in so well. But no, we cannot continue to do it in the way that we have done it. And so I respectfully ask for a no vote. It's time to change direction in Afghanistan.
Gentlewoman's
it's time
time
to
has
vote for
expired.
jobs in our own country.